Welcome to the Eating at a Meeting podcast. I'm your host, Tracy Stuckrath, dietary needs expert, certified meetings manager, certified food protection manager. I have searched the globe to find people and businesses who are creating safe, sustainable, and inclusive food and beverage experiences for their employees, guests, and communities. In each episode, you will find authentic conversations about how food and beverage impacts inclusion, sustainability, culture, community, health, and wellness. I know that sounds like a lot, but we're going to cover it all. Are you ready to feed engagement, nourish inclusion, and bolster your bottom line? If so, let's go.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Eating at a Meeting. I am your host, Tracy Stuckrath, and I am so excited. It is August. Actually, I really can't believe that it feels like summer's almost over and summer's gone flying by. But for August, it is National Wellness Month. And I'm really excited just to kick this off with you to talk about how do we take care of us? And a lot of my posts and a lot of my shows are about how we take care of other people. And as a meeting planner, my friend Yolanda Bomer, long time ago when I was still in-house corporate planner, she said as an event planner, I was everybody's mama. Everybody in the company took care of everybody. What are they eating? Where are we going? What are we doing? What kind of genes do you have, et cetera? And as event planners, I think that's really an important distinction to understand that when we're planning events, we are taking care of a lot of other people, whether it's a 5-person CEO meeting to a 17,000 person convention. There's a lot of details in there. And as I said in the post about the show is that event planning is one of the top 5 most stressful jobs. It's not something to brag about because it is a very stressful job, from managing checklists to attendee needs, to vendor needs, to signing contracts, to making sure that security is safe. It's a wide variety of things that are on our plate. But it is really important that we do self-care, that we take care of us, because we can get really run down really fast. And I'm a very outgoing person. I talk to strangers, become my best friends in 5 minutes. But at the end of the day, when I'm an event planner, I'm like, I want to go back in my room and I want to be quiet and I want to put on Law and Order or go to sleep or whatever, just relax and be away from other people. And that's one form of self-care, is understanding your limitations. And I just realized I didn't put makeup on today. So that's one of my wellness things, is like, I don't put makeup on all the time. And that's one way I take care of myself. But I wanted to take the opportunity with this show today to explore various ways that we can prioritize our self-care and improve our overall well-being, because it's really important. We're managing the well-being of other people at our events and probably at home as well. But we need to also prioritize our well-being so that we can be there for them. And then actually, most importantly, for us as well. So a couple of things. Actually, I wanted to share in commenting here, somebody just typed in, the burden of responsibility for an event planner is far greater than most realize. 100%. 100%. I mean, it's mind-blowing how many people and the responsibilities that we have as an event planner, and it's growing by the day. I mean, and I talk about dietary restrictions, but it's sustainability, it's dietary restrictions, it's making sure that everybody feels included at that event, but it's also security, and think about the active shooters that we have to balance out. What are the things that we need to do to ensure our attendees are safe, as well as our vendors and our stakeholders, et cetera. In one of my corporate jobs, that responsibility came down to the corporate plane. I wanted to make sure that everybody on our corporate and the executive level were not flying on the same plane. We had a history that all of our lawyers had passed away from a plane crash years before, but it really is making sure that you're thinking through all of those things to ensure the safety of our people. But again, it's taking care of other people, but we need to take care of ourselves. So some ways that I take care of myself is, and I've got my props here, is like I put my running shoes on every day. I don't run, I walk, but I make sure that I'm doing some sort of exercise on a daily basis. This morning I got up and I walked 4 miles. I'm a very fanatic. I try to walk as fast as I can, but some days I can't. My hips don't work, so I have to slow it down. And I'm okay with that because I'm getting my steps in some sort of exercise. But, how can you do that? What are your forms of exercise that you do to help relieve your stress or take care of yourself? I also have started lifting weights again, and I'm going to be doing a lot of body weight exercises going forward right now. But 2 weeks ago, when I did the 200th episode of the show, I was in South Carolina at my brother's house. My exercise that week was paddleboarding and kayaking. And let me tell you, paddling out to the middle of Murray Lake, and one day it was like glass. It was so still. I could stand on the paddleboard and just look around me. I wasn't moving at all. And I could hear the birds chirping. I could hear the planes flying over. It was so utterly relaxing. And that was just my form of well-being that day. Not only getting the exercise, but also just taking the time to sit and listen to nature. So in doing that, I want to make sure that we understand that it's not selfish. We can't be there for other people if we aren't taking care of ourselves. And so we need to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. And this just popped into my head too, is like making sure that you've got your doctor's appointment set up, right? It's August, we got 2 months. October is our breast cancer awareness month. So making sure that we're doing your annual checkups, doing those sorts of things, making sure that we're going to the eye doctor, and making sure we're whatever annual appointments that you need to have done, make sure you're scheduling those. Whether it's your teeth cleaning or your eye care, make sure those are done too, because those are just as important in that self-care. I talked about moving your body. And one of the things too is my friend David, I'm having what part of my problems with my walking is that my hips were bothering me. So he's like, you need to stretch your hips. And as I get older, I'm 55, making sure that I'm also doing the stretching after that I'm doing my walking, because you actually have to add the oxygen into your muscles after you've worked out. So I'm making sure that I'm actually doing hip stretching exercises after my walks. But that could be some sort of, and it's a yoga videos from the Peloton app or whatever app that you have. I actually have some yoga videos that I downloaded probably 12 years ago from Apple. And I use those in the morning when I wake up as well. And then what I found recently from, what is her? Svelte training. She's on YouTube, but I'm going to go down here, but it's like bending down and putting your hands between your legs and then coming up and opening your arms like that, doing that 5 times. I've been doing that every morning and I feel so good. I'm like, it just opens up your heart, opens up your chest and stretches your back after a good night's sleep. If you got a good night's sleep, but I love that exercise, just that morning stretch. And then talking about sleep, let's just jump into that. It's really important. And going through menopause, sometimes sleep is not the thing that your body wants to do. So, but making sure that if you're not getting it at night, make sure you got a nap in the afternoon. Schedule that time in there if you need it. But sleeping 6 to 7 hours a day is ideal per what medical research says. So trying to get that, turning off your computers before you're going to bed to make sure that you're relaxed and the blue light and the technology is not there burning your head away or your brain away. Just take that time to relax and make sure you're getting some good night's sleep. And that's including making sure that the temperature in your room is good for your sleeping. I've got a portable air conditioner in my room to make sure that it's set at 68 degrees so I can sleep well. Mindfulness. You really need to, it's really hyper connected to reducing stress and improving focus. So my friend Holly focuses on that. And let me see if I can find her, Holly Duckworth. And she focuses on mindfulness for individuals as well as for corporations and how important that is for business. I'm going to put her website up here in the chat for you so you can find Holly. She also is has an association for mindfulness and a podcast. It's really great, but there's quite a few apps out there that allow you to help you to do mindfulness and do your breathing just to center yourself. My brain goes like this, and sometimes it's really good. Sometimes I can't get there, but it's okay. learning from Holly to just take those deep breaths and then relax and let the shoulders release down is really just a couple of deep breaths. And actually my Apple Watch, if you don't have an Apple Watch, it does help. There is a breathing apparatus, mindfulness thing that has you breathe in and breathe out for a minute. And it getting that oxygen to your brain, to your muscles, et cetera. It's really, really helpful in focusing and reducing stress. And sometimes you just have to walk away and take those deep breaths and then come back to that conversation or whatever you were doing just to get a fresh perspective. Because sometimes you're working all day long and you can't focus. And this happened to me last week. Actually 2 days ago, I was like, so much to do and I couldn't focus and I just needed to get out. And I probably will just, after the show is over, go outside and take a short little walk, not a fast-paced walk, but just a walk to get outside and to breathe and take those deep breaths. Journaling is another great way to focus on mindfulness. I'm not really good at it, but I know a lot of people who are getting up in the morning and writing what your thoughts are for the day, or even taking those notes the night before, writing down how your day went, right? Those are really important things to do. And I'm not, as I said, I'm not very good at it, but maybe you are, and that's really good for taking care of yourself. One other good thing, like I mentioned, doing the paddleboarding is getting away digital overload. And sometimes just putting on the TV behind me helps me focus a lot, just kind of having that noise because I work at home. But I also really appreciated going out into the water, even though I took my phone so I could take photos. But, that again is breaking from that digital overload, but not looking at your phone first thing when you get up, or just taking 20 minutes, 30 minutes to pick up a book on your, actually a paperback book or a hardback book to sit and listen and think about things and to get away from that digital overload. One other thing to do, I'm going to take a sip, so we're going to talk about water. Staying hydrated is really important for your self-care. A couple of weeks ago, I did an event up at the Marine Corps base, Quantico, and I thought it was interesting that in the bathroom, they had a picture of different colors of urine and showing when you're hydrated and when you're not hydrated. And some of them were like dark brown, black. And I went out and I'm like, it kind of amazes me that you're having to remind Marines that they need to stay hydrated. And he's like, some of these young people will drink a Red Bull and have a hamburger and not drink water, not stay hydrated. And their urine gets really dark. So making sure, and the lighter your urine is, the more hydrated you are. So just make sure that you're drinking water or eating fruits and vegetables or foods that have a lot of water in them throughout the day. It doesn't have to be 10 cups of 8 ounces of water, but you can get it through the food that you're eating as well. A watermelon is good for that in the summertime. Very high water content. Practice gratitude is another way to do this. And I loved this in June, my friend Holly, a different Holly, was celebrating joy every day. And she did a post every day on what she was grateful for or what she found joy in. And I loved it. It was from seeing the beach or hanging out with her husband or hanging out with her son and picking blackberries with her dad. She just found different joy throughout every single day. And she posted about that. And I thought that was really inspiring because she's showing the gratitude that she has for her life and for her family and for her friends. And I remember one of them was having dinner with friends that were moving. And it was really inspiring to see how she was expressing that gratitude that she has for life and for the people around her. And that's really something really important when you're thinking about self-care and wellness, is those people around you. Spending time with the people that you care for. And that, Julie, thank you very much. Great topic. Thank you. I appreciate that. Once a month, I get together with some women in the neighborhood, and we play bunco. And I don't see them I see them once a month, but we've been doing that now, I think for 18 months now. And I missed last month because I was at the lake and I was at the store the other day and one of them rolled down the window and said, "Hey, what are you doing? We missed you at Bunko." And that was just so great because it's that time that you take to spend time with other people, to feel gratitude, and to feel valued and to have just that conversation with people outside of yourself. It does bring wellness to you. Getting together with others does bring wellness. My dad plays bridge once or twice a week with 3 of his friends in the neighborhood. And I loved it. It's kind of funny though. They don't talk very much during bridge, but it's that getting together and playing bridge. They all knock on each other who's won and who's lost. But it's quality time with other people. And I think that's really important as well. And when I was at the lake, I invited my sorority sister, my friend Teresa, who I've been friends with since 1998, to come spend a few days with me. And oh my gosh, so many laughs. And Julie, I'm just going to talk about laughter because you won an award for the laughing competition. Laughter is so important. And whether it's a deep belly laugh or just, a short little giggle, laughter is so important for self-care and well-being. And how can you bring more joy and laughter into your life? Whether it's watching a comedic television show, or just giggles with your kids, or remembering something that you did when you were a kid, etc. It's those kind of things. Laughter adds so much more adrenaline to our system. And Julie, you can pipe in on what other things that laughter brings to us, but it's such an important part of our lives as well. Connect with nature. I mentioned going paddleboarding. I have a Mini Cooper convertible as well. So that is one way of getting outdoors. My exercise preference is walking or riding my bike outside versus doing it on the treadmill inside the gym. But getting 15 minutes of sun and some vitamin D. There's lots of studies about the lack of vitamin D a lot of us have. And one of the ways to get vitamin D is through the sun. So I think it's really important to spend 15, 20, 30 minutes outside if you can a day and just listen to the birds, rescue a turtle, or whatever you want to do. Go sit in the forest in some trees. There's a study, I have to find it, forest bathing. Mark Cooper from IAC and I always talk about forest bathing. And Japan, some research in Japan found, and there's an article in US News, which I'll post it on here, about forest bathing. And that's really just sitting in nature without the technology and just listening and participating in it's just being in nature. And we have this little tiny mini Appalachian Trail. It's 1/10 of a mile through the woods in my neighborhood. And I love walking through there. And it's listening to the creatures, the squirrels and the birds. And we do have bears and deer in our neighborhood, but I'm hoping I'm not seeing them. But just being in that woods environment, being out in nature is really good. It's good for our overall health. And this started increased. Anyways, lots of different things about that. Julie just posted in here, laughter is a deep de-stressor. It helps us get out of our heads. Thinking too much and ruminating on a problem makes me stress, and it's necessary or helpful for her to laugh. And so Julie and I reconnect. Julie and I are sorority sisters as well, but we reconnected in San Diego 10 years ago. When did you win that competition? And she saw on Facebook that I was in San Diego and she was in San Diego, and we were there for 2 different conventions. And she brought over this big old trophy that she has for winning this laughing competition. And we walked behind the Hotel Del with that trophy. And I cannot tell you how hurt my stomach was from laughing so hard. People are like, what? That was 2013 she just posted. We laughed so hard just telling people about what the trophy was for and how she got it. And her laugh was infectious, which makes me laugh. And my stomach hurt from laughing so much. So it really is a good thing to do. One of the things that we've seen in a lot of meetings and events now A lot of people are talking about it, relaxation spaces. Do you have one of those in your homes? Do you have one? Do you offer those in your event spaces? You could use it, not just your attendees, but you could use it as well. And how do you have a space that you can go relax? Is it your porch swing? Is it your pool chair in the back? Is it the bench in the forest? Do you have a place, or is it just the big chair in your house? Do you have a place that you like to relax? And Julie, that's hysterical. The kind of stomach ache that you want to get is the one that you get from laughing so hard. I so appreciate that and believe that too. But do you have a place that you can go relax and just sit and be zen? It could be in the middle of your driveway. Who knows, right? But do you find that place for you? Another way to take care of your well-being, and I know we're talking about, this is about us, and as meeting professionals or busy professionals in general, we're always taking care of other people. But one of the other things about taking care of other people comes in the form of charity. So is there a nonprofit that you work for? Can you go feed the hungry? Can you go make bikes for kids? That, even though it's kind of taking care of other people, it's also just giving your sense of charity, not a sense of charity, but you're giving charity out and giving of yourself in a different way. That's not work, right? It's something that you believe in. Can you go spend time with senior citizens at the retirement community, right? Go read books to them. Go to the library and read books to little kids. Things like that. Those are forms of charity and causes. Do you raise money for a specific nonprofit or cause that you believe in? That's another way. Giving back to community is another way of self-wellness. And let's see, workshops and webinars. I've got this whole list that I've written down. Setting realistic goals. This is a hard one sometimes. My mom said, Tracy, you've got to watch this episode of the Today Show. They did a whole segment on to-do lists. And in that segment the other day, I think it was like 2 days ago, they talked about your to-do list and you just have this never-ending to-do list. And I get overwhelmed with that. But she said, break it down and prioritize. Where's your priority list? And put 5 to 7 things on that priority list that you're going to get to in a day. And be realistic about what you're doing and prioritize those things on that priority list, but what needs to get first. It may not be that email back to Julie right away, right? It may not be making your kids lunch or whatever it is, but set those priorities and make sure they're realistic, because you want to, what is that? SMART goals. And now I don't even remember what that means. Realistic and time. And so I've got to look that back up on what those are, but make sure that they're good for you and that you're putting your priority to what needs to be done versus understanding how long that's going to take. And actually one example is that a presentation that I'm giving at IMEX in 2 months, I put out a request for event menus from across the country so I can analyze them. That's a priority to me, but I don't have to have it done until the end of August, middle of September, so that I can do that. So I'm just going to work on it bits and pieces until then so I can complete it. And so that's putting my priority. I've got other things that I need to do before I get that done, but that's how I'm going to prioritize that. The 100 menus to go through, so it's going to take you a while. Let's see, streamline. Oh, okay. So I haven't even talked about food, right? Thinking about how do we take care of our wellness. I talked about water, but how are you taking care of yourself with the food that you eat? If you're vegan, if you're not a vegan, if you're gluten-free, if you eat everything, how do you prioritize what you're eating? And are you getting fruits and vegetables in every single day? How are you prioritizing your snacks? Are you making sure that they're healthy snacks or are they potato chips, right? Or granola, ensuring that you've got a wide variety of fruits and vegetables in your diet, as well as some grains and a variety of things that work for you. Whatever works for you best, but make sure that you're putting healthy food into your body as well, and that we're not snacking constantly. And I'm guilty of it as well, but just figuring out how to make those snacks healthier and they're sensible portion sizes. And if you travel a lot like I do and you go to what are those things called? the stores at the airport where you buy your snacks and your water and your magazines and your books and things like that. If you buy that bag of nuts or those bag of things, if you look at the back side of it, it says serving size. And it's probably 5 servings in one of those bags. But how many of you actually eat the whole bag in one sitting, right? Those foods are engineered for you to eat them and crave them. So, but how can you make sure you're looking at your portion sizes and you're managing what you're actually putting into your body? And I'm going to do 2 or 3 more things and let it wrap up. If you've got any comments about what you do for your wellness, please let me know in the chat, in the comments, wherever you are. But one of the things, just talking about food, is talking about sugar. We need to cut back on sugar. In my presentations, I talk about health and wellness. I talk about that sugar used to only be able to be purchased at an apothecary because it was seen as a drug, because it wreaks havoc on our stress and our blood system and things like that. So cutting back on the amount of sugar that you take or you eat is really important for managing your blood sugar levels, which helps manage your sleep and your stress and a variety of things. So, and it's not just the teaspoon of sugar that you're putting in your coffee or your tea. It's the sugar that you're finding in and potentially in the pre-packaged foods that you're buying. It's in your cereals or your crackers or your sauces, your ketchups and things like that. So depending on how much of that you eat on a daily basis, your sugar is adding up. I do know, I researched it, that a medium sweet tea at Dunkin' Donuts has 59 grams of sugar in it. That's well over the amount of grams of sugar that you should have in a day, but that's what we're doing. So really thinking about how you can cut back on your sugar. If sweet tea is your thing, limit it to 1 glass a day and maybe do a small versus a medium, but then watch your sugar intake the rest of the day. I am not a doctor. I am a health coach, so I'm not telling you what to eat and what not to eat. Find where your balance is. But I do know that reducing the amount of sugar that we have in our body helps with mood swings, helps with sleep, helps just staying awake as well. Because our blood sugar can go up really high and then drop, and then we're crashed for the day and we don't feel good. Okay. Massages and chiropractic appointments, things like that if you are somebody that is okay with other people touching you for massages and chiropractic work, it does really help. And a massage really does help with relieving stress. I go to a medical massage and then I go to a different massage therapist just for that relaxation, figuring out how it can help de-stress you. And the last one, 2 more actually. Or no, I already talked about stretching. So stretching is really important, getting that oxygen into your blood and into your muscles after you've worked out. But the last one is just slowing down. And as I probably talk a mile a minute on this podcast, but I think slowing down is just something that we all could use a little bit of every single day. And I think it rolls into every single thing that I talked about today. So just take time for yourself. It's not selfish. It's really important so that we can be there for other people in our lives, and just kind of try to create some sustainable habits that can lead to long-term well-being. And you don't have to do them all at one time. Take them, go slow, pick one. Hey, I go take a new yoga class or take a new spin class or something like that, or go learn how to do pottery. That's definitely a way to slow down, is making pottery is slow. But take time for yourself. And because your well-being is important to you, it's important to me, for you, and it's important to those that care for you. So I appreciate you listening to me today, and let me know in the chats what you do for your own well-being and wellness as we celebrate National Wellness Month in August. I am going to challenge myself and post a different form of wellness that I'm doing for myself every single day. If I don't get it to every single day, it's okay. But that's what my challenge is for the month, is to show you how I'm taking care of myself. So until next time, stay safe and eat well and be well.
Thanks for listening to the Eating at a Meeting podcast, where every meal matters. I'm Tracy Stuckrath, your food and beverage inclusion expert. Call me and let's get started right now on creating safe and inclusive food and beverage experiences for your customers, your employees, and your communities. Share the podcast with your friends and colleagues at our Eating at a Meeting Facebook page and on all podcast platforms. To learn more about me and receive valuable information, go to tracystuckrath.com. And if you'd like more information on how to feed engagement, nourish inclusion, and bolster your bottom line, then visit eatingatameeting.com.